So please, welcome me.
Thank you, Mr. Wilbur. I want to say just one quick thing about David. I think probably in the time that I've been watching township government, I don't know that we've had a better person serve as trustee. I was on the board once before from 1996 to 2000. I walked away voluntarily. It's different this time. We were able to accomplish more because David was there. I want to thank Briones for hosting it. I think everybody, I hope you all do a terrific job. You know, it's amazing to me. They've only been here like 7, 8 years, and it seems like they've been here forever. They're such a part of the fabric of this community. And it's real obvious why. Thank you, Larry. And Louise, power behind them, wherever she happens to be. I want to thank my campaign team who all stepped up and volunteered. Rick Gutowski, Craig Need, Craig Bennett, Zach Bell, and of course Henry Wallace. They all volunteered because they realized this little self-government project that we're in takes people volunteering. So I hope you all will check in at the front there and will help out, because we're going to need your help in this campaign, one way or the other. And finally, I'd like to thank all of you for being here. Your support is really invigorating for me. I feel like I'm taking on a responsibility I really didn't intend, but when I get the thanks for an otherwise thankless job, it just makes it all the easier. So a little bit of substance after the thank yous. In 1978, I read an article in the Oakland Press about something that was happening at Township Hall, and I thought it was a really bad idea based on some experiences I'd had in the community I grew up in. So I showed up at my very first township board meeting, and I actually stood up and spoke and explained why I thought what they were considering was a bad idea. I walked out to the parking lot at 90 North Main, the old Township Hall, afterwards, and there was a group of folks standing talking amongst themselves. One fella stepped out of the group, put his hand out to me, shook my hand, said, "Thanks for your remarks, come join us." And I've been involved ever since. That was Ted Thompson. I don't know how many of you remember Ted Thompson, but I remember him well because he cared so much for this community. And I'm sorry he's not here now. So I've been involved ever since, Planning Commission, in the community, Township Board, a couple of tours there. In all that time, I've never missed a meeting, in part because I'm afraid of what they'd do if I didn't show up. But also because I think half of what we should be doing is showing up, although it needs to be more than just showing up. So like David said, we've taken the initiative on a lot of things, and I'm proud of what we've accomplished. I won't bore you with all that now, but I got the little blog that's on the postcard there. I put myself out there through the blog so that you can all read about what I think and believe in. The initiatives meant that I had to step up and put a lot more time into being a trustee than is really expected of a trustee, but there were struggles, I guess you'd call them, and voids that needed to be filled. So I actually started to pare down my law practice in 2009 and had a little party and semi-retired. And I don't regret it because of what we've accomplished. I think as a result, the township government is now more open, more responsive, and more effective than it's ever been before, and yet there's a lot more that I think needs to be done. One of the key things for me is to make it even more efficient and effective by looking to other communities, following the governor's lead, and getting involved in cooperation and consolidation with other communities. I think that's real important for us to do. Another real important thing for me is now and always has been citizen participation. I think that this is a participatory sport, democracy, and we need to get more people involved. We've done a great job this last 4 years.
You've done a great job
of having citizens involved with a number of different committees, from getting a new clerk when we needed it, to the burning ordinance and all the other things, the new cable committee,
task force,
the Operation Review Task Force that Bart Clark headed up for us, which turned out to be a great thing in two respects, not only because it gave us a lot of great recommendations, but it meant that when we needed him, Bart Clark was there to step in and help us run the day-to-day of the township. The key thing for me on this participation is that we're going to need to figure out how to get some folks involved who are the next generation, because our leadership's kind of getting old. If you look at a board meeting, you see an awful lot of gray hair up there, and it's really time that we figure out a way to draw those people into leadership roles. So I want to work on that as a part of being supervisor as well. Mr. Lohmeyer referred a little bit to what we've done, but we've really hired a lot of professionals in this last 4 years. The assessing department, we had, as a board, had to hire a new clerk, a new head of the cable station, Parks and Rec, the budget analyst and the HR director. And every time we hired somebody, and that was board involvement, every time we hired somebody, we stepped up the game and became more professional. I think there's more that we can do, and I think what they need is strong leadership, and I'm prepared to provide that. The last thing that I really want to aim at this next 4 years would be to grow into our master plan. Now, I helped on the Planning Commission in the 1980s put together our master plan for how the land uses would go with Joe Figa back then, and largely that master plan is still in place. We have used it in a very defensive way over the last couple of decades as developments came our way, and some of them simply didn't fit in our community. So rather than lose the charm of the community, we used it in a defensive manner. Now, I think we have to go on the offense. We need to figure out ways to grow into our master plan, and I would like to take the lead on that. The last thing I want to talk about is the hospital. And when we talk about the hospital, I mean McLaren. It isn't any secret that I was significantly opposed to the hospital coming to our community. The reason was that I thought there was an imbalance between the crush that would put on our infrastructure and the amount of revenue and taxes that we would be getting from the hospital. About 2 months ago, I took the initiative of sitting down with representatives of McLaren Hospital with Mr. Lohmeyer along, and began to discuss some of the concerns that I had, because I think when this was originally approved that there was a rush to judgment. And McLaren has stepped up and said, yes, we can do things differently. We can right that balance. Since that meeting, I met with Coach Patterson just 2 weeks ago to talk to him about that. And then again today, actually in this room, I met with representatives of McLaren to move that process along. I believe that they're going to be making significant changes, which I'll get into at some other time, that will right this balance and make it easier for us to host that hospital in our community. And if we can pull that off, we're going to need to extend their ability to build, but also I will take the initiative to get the township board to make a recommendation to the state government that they allow those beds to come to Independence Township. I think that will be huge for us. My concern always was that we would not be able to host them in an appropriate way to be a crush on our services. I think they understand now other things that they can do to put that back in balance. Finally, just to end this up, I need your help. This responsibility I'm taking on, I'm going to need a lot of help to be successful, and not just for the campaign, but also once, hopefully, I'm elected and in and serving as your supervisor. Thank you all very much for being here.
Larry and Louise have indicated that they have these plastic containers here for a reason. And as we start closing in at the end, closer to 7 o'clock, if there's still food available, they're encouraging people to help yourselves and make friends for Neil, by treating people that you know. One other thing, some individuals were very generous as far as indicating that they'd like to contribute. This is not a fundraiser, this is a meet and greet, but certainly going forward, as you know, running for office is an expensive proposition. And any contribution that you can make for the cause would be very much appreciated. Tom and Tracy Wright, the owners of Belle Visage, have been kind enough to indicate that we can have a fundraiser at their facility over there by Sashaball. So please look forward to seeing that on the website. Those of you that haven't checked into the website, it's on the card. And please look forward to future announcements. We really appreciate you coming. And we're here until 7 o'clock, and enjoy yourselves, and let's consume as much of this great food as we can.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.